My friend, have you ever wondered what happens to those who betray your trust, break your heart, or cause you pain without remorse? You might not always see it immediately, but the universe has its own way of balancing the scales. Karma may move slowly, but it never sleeps, and when it begins to unfold, the signs are undeniable. Today, I will reveal the 6 powerful signs that karma is dealing with those who hurt you. As you listen, you may realize that you don't need revenge, you don't need to fight back, because life itself becomes the great equalizer. Stay with me until the end, because understanding these signs will not only bring peace to your heart, but also strengthen your faith that justice, in its perfect timing, always prevails. There is a mystery in life that cannot be ignored: the unexplainable downfall of those who once walked with pride, arrogance, and cruelty toward others. Often, when people hurt us, betray us, or take advantage of our kindness, it feels as though they escape untouched. They walk away smiling, carrying the benefits of their wrongdoing, while we are left in pain. We wonder, where is the justice? Why does life allow them to flourish, while we are left broken? Yet if we wait and watch long enough, there comes a time when the very ground beneath their feet begins to shake. They may have built their lives on lies, manipulation, or selfish gain, but the foundation of such living can never remain firm forever. Slowly, their rise turns into a fall that no one can explain, and it is in this downfall that karma begins its work. The most striking thing about this downfall is that it does not always happen in ways we can predict. Sometimes it happens publicly, with the world watching as the proud are brought low. At other times it happens quietly, behind the scenes, where no applause or attention can cover the weight of their fall. Success that once seemed effortless begins to slip through their hands. The doors of opportunity that once opened widely for them now shut firmly in their face. Connections that helped them climb to the top disappear. What was once a straight path of advancement turns into a road filled with obstacles and disappointments. And while many may try to explain it as bad luck, those who have witnessed their cruelty and wrongdoing know that there is something deeper at play. It is the silent justice of life unfolding, a justice that may be delayed but never denied. This downfall is unexplainable because it often comes at the height of their arrogance. Just when they feel untouchable, just when they believe they are invincible, the cracks begin to show. It might be the collapse of a business that once thrived. It might be the exposure of secrets that they thought would never come to light. It could be the sudden loss of wealth, the betrayal of their closest allies, or a chain of failures that seem impossible to recover from. No matter the form, the pattern is always the same. What was built on the suffering of others cannot stand forever. Life has a way of balancing itself, and in that balance, those who hurt others face a downfall that leaves them shaken and powerless. What makes this even more powerful is the timing. Sometimes their downfall comes years later, long after the pain they caused seems forgotten. They may believe they have escaped accountability, but life's memory is long, and karma waits patiently. Then, without warning, the very success they held so tightly crumbles before their eyes. And it crumbles not because someone sought revenge, but because life itself demands balance. No one can outrun the truth. No one can escape the consequences of their actions forever. For those who have been hurt, witnessing this downfall can bring a strange sense of relief. Not because we delight in the suffering of others, but because it reassures us that justice still exists. It reminds us that we don't need to lower ourselves to the level of those who wronged us. We don't need to fight back with bitterness or revenge. Instead, we can stand firm, knowing that the universe, in its wisdom, keeps the scales balanced. The pain inflicted upon us does not go unnoticed, and in time life responds. This is why patience is such a powerful force. When we let go of anger and leave justice in the hands of life itself, we free ourselves from bitterness. And when the downfall of those who hurt us becomes visible, we are reminded that no action goes without consequence. They may have believed their cruelty gave them strength, but in reality, it only set the stage for their fall. Their pride, their arrogance, their disregard for others, these became the seeds of their own destruction. So when you see someone rise through dishonesty, manipulation, or cruelty, do not envy them, do not fear them. Their rise may be swift, but their fall will be certain, and when it comes it will not be a small stumble but an unexplainable downfall that strips away the false security they once clung to. This is karma at work, quiet, patient, and unstoppable. And when it unfolds, it reminds us that the universe has not forgotten the pain we endured, and justice, in its perfect timing, always finds its way. There is a punishment far greater than financial loss, public shame, or the collapse of worldly success, and that is the loss of inner peace. When someone hurts you, they may walk away as if nothing happened. They may laugh, boast, and even appear stronger for a time. To the outside world, it may look as though they have escaped untouched, as though their cruelty has given them some advantage. But what people cannot see is the turmoil inside their soul. Karma has a way of haunting them in the quietest hours, where no mask can hide their unrest. Outwardly, they may still shine, but inwardly they are restless. Peace becomes a stranger to them, and no matter what they do, they cannot silence the echoes of their wrongdoing. At first, they may try to convince themselves that what they did was justified. They will replay the situation in their minds, searching for excuses, twisting the truth to ease their guilt. But deep down, the soul knows the difference between right and wrong. Conscience is not easily silenced. No matter how much they try to bury it under distractions, it whispers to them at night, when the world is silent and their mind is unguarded. This whisper may start softly, but with time it grows louder. It keeps them awake, turning in bed, unable to rest. It steals their joy in moments where laughter should come easily. It follows them like a shadow, reminding them of the pain they caused. This is the hidden justice of life, the kind that cannot be escaped by wealth, power, or status. They may attempt to drown it out with busyness, surrounding themselves with noise, crowds, or entertainment. Some throw themselves into work, others into pleasures, and still others into addictions that numb the mind. But none of these can restore the peace they once had. No amount of success, no material possession, no hollow victory can give rest to a troubled soul. In fact, the more they achieve, the emptier they feel, because deep inside they know the truth. They gained at the cost of another's suffering, and life does not bless such victories. This is why many people who seem to win through cruelty are never truly happy. They may have riches, yet they cannot enjoy them. They may be surrounded by people, yet feel utterly alone. They may laugh loudly, but the laughter does not reach their heart. They are tormented not by what others can see, but by what they themselves cannot escape, the absence of peace. Peace is the most precious treasure a person can hold, and once it is lost, nothing else in life can replace it. Sometimes this loss of peace comes in subtle ways. They become easily irritated, easily angered, always restless, never satisfied. They may not understand why life feels heavy, why joy feels distant. They may even lash out at others, projecting their inner turmoil outward, hoping to ease the storm inside, but the storm does not leave. It follows them wherever they go, because it is not created by the outside world, but by the weight of their own actions. This is karma's way of teaching them. It is a reminder that hurting others comes at a cost that cannot be measured in dollars or power. It costs them their sleep, their joy, their clarity of mind, their sense of security. The very things they once took for granted, peaceful mornings, restful nights, a clear conscience, are stripped away. This silent punishment is often worse than anything visible, because it gnaws at them from within. And here lies the deeper lesson. You do not need to seek revenge against those who hurt you, because they are already carrying the heaviest punishment life can give. They may not admit it, they may never show it, but their soul is restless. They cannot escape the gnawing unease inside, and while they may pretend to the world that all is well, the truth is they have lost something priceless, the ability to live in peace. For you, the one who has been hurt, this truth should bring comfort. You do not need to waste your energy fighting back or proving your worth. Life itself is your defender. The peace that left them remains with you if you choose forgiveness and healing. And in the end, that is the greatest difference between you and them. You can move forward free, while they remain chained to the unrest of their own conscience. So when you see those who wronged you smiling and boasting, remember this: the greatest wealth is peace of mind. Without it, they may have the whole world, but still feel empty. With it, even in your struggles, you have more than they ever will. That is how karma works. It restores balance by taking away the one thing that cannot be bought, borrowed, or stolen: peace. One of the most powerful ways karma reveals itself is through the breaking of relationships. People who have caused harm often believe they can walk through life untouched, that the bonds they hold with others will remain secure no matter what they do. But relationships are built on trust, and when someone destroys trust, whether in a friend, a partner, or a family member, they plant the very seed of their own isolation. For a time it may seem as though nothing has changed. They may still laugh with their circle, still walk proudly with their companions, still appear loved and supported. Yet beneath the surface, cracks begin to form. Slowly, one by one, the people they depend on begin to slip away. That which they once used to hurt others eventually finds its way back to them. This breaking of relationships often mirrors the very pain they inflicted. If they betrayed someone, they too will be betrayed. If they abandoned someone in a time of need, they too will experience abandonment when they least expect it. Life has a remarkable way of teaching lessons by allowing people to taste the very bitterness they once served to others. And when it happens, they are often caught off guard, because they believed they could control people through charm, power, or fear. But the truth is, no relationship rooted in lies, manipulation, or cruelty can last. Eventually, the truth surfaces, and when it does, the bond crumbles. The beauty and mystery of this karmic justice is that it does not always happen suddenly. Often, it unfolds slowly, almost invisibly. A friend grows distant, a partner loses respect, a family member no longer answers calls. It begins with small changes, but over time it becomes undeniable. The people they once trusted are no longer there, and the very relationships that once gave them strength begin to vanish, leaving them to stand alone. This is not punishment delivered by human hands. It is the natural order of life balancing itself. There is an emptiness in being surrounded by people who no longer truly care. They may still be in the presence of others, but the bond is gone. They may walk into a crowded room and feel utterly alone because no one truly trusts them, no one truly loves them, no one truly believes in them anymore. They can put on a show, but deep inside they know the foundation of their relationships has collapsed. And when relationships collapse, everything else begins to collapse too. Success feels hollow without people to share it with. Wealth feels meaningless without someone to stand beside them. Even moments of laughter become echoes in an empty room when there is no one to lean on when life grows heavy. This breaking of relationships is karma's way of showing them the consequences of their actions. If they caused pain in the heart of another, life will allow them to experience that same pain. If they betrayed, they will taste betrayal. If they abandoned, they will feel the sting of abandonment. And often, it comes at the moment when they need companionship the most. That is how life teaches humility. It strips away the false security of shallow connections, leaving only the truth. Relationships cannot thrive in an atmosphere of cruelty, selfishness, or betrayal. For the one who has been hurt, witnessing this can be a reminder of life's justice. You may have cried over broken trust, wondering how someone so close could wound you so deeply. You may have questioned why loyalty was not returned, why love was not valued. But life does not leave such actions unresolved. In time, the same pain you felt will visit the one who caused it. They may not admit it openly, but behind closed doors they will know the emptiness of relationships lost, the loneliness of broken bonds, and the regret of what they destroyed with their own hands. This is why patience is so important. You do not need to force justice, nor do you need to hope for revenge. All you need to do is heal and trust that life will bring balance. Those who hurt you will eventually see the results of their own actions reflected back at them. And when their relationships begin to break, they will finally understand what it means to lose something that cannot be replaced. Money can be earned again, success can be rebuilt, but once trust is broken, once love is shattered, once loyalty is lost, it is almost impossible to restore. That is the true cost of hurting others. It destroys the very connections that give meaning to life. So when you see someone who wronged you standing tall with their circle of friends or loved ones, do not be deceived. The outside picture may look strong, but life always reveals the truth. And in time, the same relationships they took for granted will slip away, leaving them to face the consequences of their own actions. That is karma, not always loud, not always immediate, but always certain. One of the clearest ways karma makes itself known is through the endless cycles of misfortune that follow those who cause harm. At first, it might appear as though everything is working in their favor. They seem untouchable, enjoying success, comfort, and influence. But slowly, almost quietly, life begins to turn against them. At first, it may be a small setback, something they dismiss as bad luck. Then another follows. Soon, one misfortune leads to another, creating a cycle that they cannot break free from. Every step forward seems to be pushed 2 steps back. Every plan they make collapses before it can come to life, and as they struggle to move forward, it becomes clear that life itself is resisting them. This is karma at work, teaching through repetition, forcing them to confront the consequences of their choices. What makes these cycles so powerful is that they are not random. Misfortune, when tied to karma, comes with precision. If they use deceit to harm others, they will find themselves deceived by those they trust. If they blocked opportunities for someone else, they will encounter doors that refuse to open no matter how hard they knock. If they mocked the struggles of another, they will eventually walk through those very struggles themselves. Life does not punish without reason, it mirrors, and when someone has inflicted harm, life uses cycles of misfortune to hold a mirror in front of them, reflecting back their actions in ways they cannot ignore. For the one experiencing it, this cycle is exhausting. At first, they may try harder, thinking that with enough effort, things will turn around. But the more they push, the more resistance they face. The promotion slips away, the business deal fails, the trusted friend betrays them, the financial investment collapses, the health they once took for granted begins to decline. No matter what they touch, it refuses to prosper. This repeated pattern is not simply chance. It is life's way of balancing the scales, reminding them that harm done to others cannot result in lasting success. These cycles are often deeply humbling. The very people who once walked with pride, who laughed at the struggles of others, find themselves confused, asking, "Why me? Why now?" They search for answers but cannot understand that their present suffering is a seed they themselves planted long ago. When you hurt others, you create ripples, and eventually those ripples return. It may take months, it may take years, but when the tide comes back, it does not leave without leaving a mark. The repetition of misfortune is meant to awaken the soul, to break pride, and to force reflection. What is even more telling is that these misfortunes often appear in the very areas where they once boasted strength. If they were proud of wealth, money will begin to slip through their hands. If they found identity in relationships, betrayal will cut them deeply. If they built their reputation on power, humiliation will find them. Karma does not choose randomly. It strikes where the lesson will be most deeply felt. That is why the cycle is so relentless. It continues until the heart softens, until the mind begins to see, until the soul recognizes that one cannot harm others and escape untouched. For those who have been hurt, this truth is powerful. It teaches us that we do not need to waste energy seeking revenge. Life has a way of weaving justice into the very fabric of existence. The cycles of misfortune that follow those who wrong us are not ours to create. They come naturally, in their own time, with their own weight. And when they come, they remind us that no one is above accountability. The very universe bends toward justice, and every act has its return. These cycles also reveal something else, the emptiness of false victories. A person may rise through cruelty or dishonesty, but their rise will always be short-lived. Without peace, without stability, without blessing, their success becomes fragile, easily broken by the storm of misfortune. They may hold onto their pride, but pride cannot shield them when life itself has turned against them. Step by step, misfortune chips away at their security, until they are left standing in the rubble of their own choices. And yet, within these cycles lies an opportunity. Misfortune, while painful, also holds the power to awaken. Some will grow bitter, blaming everyone but themselves. Others, however, will begin to reflect, to recognize their mistakes, and to seek change. Karma is not only about punishment, it is about correction. The cycle continues not to destroy endlessly, but to guide, to push toward humility, and to remind that every action carries a weight. So when you see those who hurt you facing setback after setback, do not be deceived into thinking it is mere coincidence. It is the natural law of life at work. Every betrayal, every cruelty, every injustice plants a seed. And in time, those seeds grow into storms of misfortune that cannot be avoided. That is karmat, teaching, humbling, and balancing the scales. For the one who has been wronged, this truth is a promise. Life remembers, and justice, though delayed, is certain. One of the deepest punishments karma delivers is not always visible to the eye, but it is felt in the soul, isolation and emptiness. When someone hurts others, when they betray, deceive, or wound the people who trusted them, they believe in the moment that they have gained something: power, advantage, control, or victory. But what they fail to see is that every act of cruelty chips away at the very connections that make life meaningful. Slowly, they build walls around themselves, cutting off the very sources of joy, love, and belonging. And while they may not notice it at first, eventually, they wake up one day to find themselves alone, surrounded not by genuine love, but by emptiness that nothing can fill. This isolation often begins long before they realize it. A person who lives with deceit and harm can gather people around them, but those connections are shallow, fragile, and temporary. Friends may stay as long as there is something to gain, but true loyalty cannot thrive in the presence of betrayal. Partners may endure for a time, but love cannot survive where there is constant dishonesty. Family bonds, though strong, eventually weaken when repeatedly tested by selfishness and cruelty. In the end, those who once seemed to stand beside them drift away, one by one, until they are left facing the silence of their own emptiness. What makes this punishment so heavy is that it often comes when they crave connection the most. During times of success, they may not feel the absence of genuine love, because they are distracted by noise, applause, and false companionship. But when trials come, when misfortune strikes, and when the applause dies, they discover that no one truly remains. The phone stops ringing, the friends they thought were loyal disappear, the love they assumed was secure has faded. They stand alone in the very moments when they need support the most. This is how karma teaches them the weight of their actions, by stripping away the illusion of companionship and leaving them face with their isolation, and even in the presence of others, emptiness still follows. They may gather in crowds, laugh loudly, and pretend to be surrounded by love, but deep inside, their soul knows the truth. They are not connected. They are not understood. They are not truly loved. It is a hollow existence, like drinking water that never quenches thirst, or eating food that never satisfies hunger. They may have everything the world calls success, but without meaningful relationships, without real bonds of trust and love, they feel empty, restless, and incomplete. This emptiness is not random. It is the echo of the emptiness they created in others. When they abandoned someone in need, they created abandonment for themselves. When they shattered someone's trust, they created distrust in their own relationships. When they left another feeling unloved, they sowed seeds of loneliness that would one day blossom in their own life. Karma returns to them not only in what happens around them, but in what happens within them. The very pain they inflicted comes back, multiplied, until they cannot ignore it. There is no wealth, no power, no success that can fill the void of emptiness. Many try. They chase after material possessions, achievements, or recognition, hoping it will silence the loneliness inside. But the soul cannot be fed with such things. Peace, joy, and belonging come only from love, trust, and integrity. Without these, life becomes a shell, beautiful perhaps on the outside, but hollow and fragile within. And eventually, that hollowness becomes unbearable. For the one who has been hurt, this truth offers comfort. You may have felt abandoned, betrayed, or discarded by someone you loved or trusted. You may have felt the deep loneliness that comes from broken bonds. But life has a way of restoring balance. The same isolation you once felt will eventually visit the one who caused it. They too will know the sting of loneliness, the emptiness of hollow connections, and the ache of being surrounded yet still alone. This is not revenge. It is simply balance. It is life teaching them the very lesson they refused to learn when they hurt you. And while they sink deeper into isolation, you have the opportunity to rise. Because, unlike them, you can heal, forgive, and rebuild connections rooted in love and truth. Their emptiness is the price of their choices, but your healing becomes your strength. And in the end, the difference between you and them is clear. You can walk forward with peace and belonging, while they remain trapped in a world of their own making alone, empty and restless. This is the justice of karma. It does not always strike with thunder or with fire, but with silence, with emptiness, with the unbearable loneliness of isolation. And when it comes, it teaches that no cruelty goes unanswered, and no betrayal leaves the betrayer untouched. Emphasizes that true transformation is not something that happens overnight, but is the result of consistent, intentional actions rooted in faith, discipline, and spiritual awareness. Many people want quick results, instant breakthroughs, immediate blessings, and sudden success. But that is not the way growth truly works. The human heart, much like a seed planted in the soil, requires time, nurturing, and persistence before it produces fruit. This truth is one of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of spiritual and personal development. When people begin to embrace the process rather than simply chase the outcome, they start to experience a deeper kind of transformation, one that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Real change begins when individuals commit themselves to daily practices that align with their higher calling, whether it is through prayer, meditation, reflection, service, or discipline in their personal lives. These small, consistent steps build character, resilience, and clarity, which eventually shape destiny. Transformation also requires patience because the human tendency is to resist waiting. Society promotes speed, instant gratification, and immediate returns, but the spiritual journey teaches the opposite. It teaches endurance, perseverance, and trust in timing. A seed never grows into a tree in one day, and in the same way, the process of becoming who you are meant to be takes time. This patience is not passive waiting but an active trust, a belief that even when you cannot see results, growth is happening beneath the surface. There are seasons in life where it may feel like nothing is changing, but in reality, the unseen roots are strengthening, preparing you for the fruit that will one day come. This invisible work is just as important as what will eventually become visible. Without strong roots, no tree can stand the test of storms, and without inner transformation, no outward success will last. Consistency is another essential aspect of transformation. A person cannot expect lasting change by practicing faith, discipline, or personal growth sporadically. Just as the body requires daily nourishment, the spirit and mind require continual strengthening. Transformation comes when daily choices align with values and higher truths. Choosing integrity when it is inconvenient, choosing kindness when anger would be easier, choosing discipline when laziness calls. These repeated decisions create lasting change. Over time, these choices accumulate, shaping a person's character and destiny. It is not one grand gesture, but countless small acts of faith and discipline that lead to true transformation. Every day presents an opportunity to take steps toward growth, and when people honor these opportunities, transformation becomes a natural outcome. True transformation also demands surrender. Many resist change because they want to control every detail of the process. But transformation often comes through letting go of what no longer serves you. Old habits, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and even the desire to have everything unfold according to your own plan. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength. It is trusting that there is a greater plan at work, one that knows what you need far better than you do. When people surrender, they create space for new possibilities, for divine wisdom, and for strength beyond their own. This surrender opens the door to transformation that is deeper and more lasting than anything that could be accomplished through sheer willpower alone. Transformation must be seen as a journey, not a destination. Many believe that once they reach a certain point, they will have arrived and can stop growing. But the truth is that growth is lifelong. Transformation continues as long as there is breath in your body. Each new season of life will require new levels of wisdom, resilience, and strength. Embracing this reality frees you from frustration and comparison. Instead of measuring progress against others, you measure it by your own journey, who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. When transformation is seen as an ongoing process, it becomes a way of life, not just a momentary pursuit. This perspective creates peace, purpose, and an enduring commitment to growth, no matter the challenges that come your way.